Hello students, welcome again to the same chapter, that is water. Children, today we are going to see that how are clouds formed. So let's see activity third. Take a glass half filled with water. Wipe the glass from the outside with a clean piece of cloth. Add some ice into the water. Wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Observe the changes that may take place on the outer surface of the glass. From where do water drops appear on the outer side of the glass? The cold surface of the glass containing ice water cools the air around it, and the water vapor of the air condenses on the surface of the glass. We noticed this process of condensation in activity 7 in chapter 5. Got it? The process of condensation plays an important role in bringing water back to the surface of the earth. How does it happen? As we go higher from the surface of the earth, it gets cooler. When the air moves up, it gets cooler and cooler, and sufficient height of the air becomes to so cool that the water vapor present in it condenses to form tiny drops of water called droplets. It is these tiny droplets that remain floating in air and appear to us as clouds. It so happens that many droplets of water come together to form larger sized drop of water. Some drops of water become so heavy that they begin to fall. These falling water drops are what we call rain. In a special condition, it may also fall as hail or snow. Thus, water in the form of vapor goes into air by evaporation and transpiration forms clouds and then comes back to the ground as rain, hail or snow. Understood? Now next, back to the oceans. What happens to the water that rain and snow bring to different regions of the earth? Almost all land surfaces are above the level of oceans. Most of the water that falls on the land as rain and snow sooner or later goes back to the ocean. This happens in many ways. Snow in the mountains melts into water. This water flows down the mountains in the form of the streams and rivers. Some of the water that falls on land as rain as flows in the form of rivers and streams. Most of the rivers cover long distances on land and ultimately fall into a sea or an ocean. However, water from some rivers flows into lakes. Next, the rainwater also fills up the lakes and ponds. A part of the rainwater gets absorbed by the ground and seems to disappear in the soil. Some of this water is brought back to the air by the process of evaporation and transpiration. The rest seeps into the ground. Most of this water becomes available to us as groundwater. Open wells are fed by groundwater. Groundwater is the source of many lakes as well. It is also this groundwater which is drawn by a hand pump or a tube well. The more hand pumps or tube wells that are used in an area, the deeper we need to dig to find this groundwater. The loss in the level of groundwater due to our use is worrisome. Got it? Now next. What if it rains heavily? The time duration and the amount of rainfall varies from place to place. In some parts of the world, it rains throughout the year, while there are places where it rains only for a few days. In our country, most of the rainfall occurs during the monsoon season. Rains bring relief, especially after hot summer days. The sowing of many crops depends on the arrival of monsoon. However, excess of rainfall may lead to many problems. Heavy rains may lead to rise in the level of water in rivers, lakes and ponds. The water may then spread over large areas causing floods. The crop fields, forests, villages and cities may get submerged by water. In our country, floods cause extensive damage to crops, domestic animals, property and human life. During floods, the animals living in the water also get carried away with the waters. They often get trapped on land areas and die when floodwater recedes. Rain also affect the animals living in the soil. Next, what happens if it does not rain for a long period? Can you imagine what would happen if it does not rain in a region for a year or more? The soil continues to lose water by evaporation and transpiration. Since it is not being brought by rain, the soil becomes dry. The level of water in ponds and wells of the region goes down and some of them may even dry up. The groundwater may also become scarce. This may lead to drought. In drought conditions, it is difficult to get food and fodder. You might have heard about droughts occurring in some parts of our country or the world. Are you aware of the difficulties faced by the people living in these areas? What happens to the animals and the vegetation in these conditions? Try and find out about this by talking to your parents and neighbors and by reading about it from newspapers and magazines. Got it? How can we conserve water? Only a small fraction of water available on the earth is fit for use of plants, animals and humans. Most of the water is in the ocean and it cannot be used directly. When the level of the groundwater decreases drastically, this cannot be used anymore. The total amount of water of earth remains the same, but the water available for the use is very limited and decreasing with overusage. The demand for water is increasing day by day. The number of people using water is increasing with rising population. In many cities, long queues for collection of water are a common sight. Also, more and more water is being used for producing food and by the industries. These factors are leading. Student, change the page. To shortage of water in many parts of the world. Hence, it is very important that water is used carefully. We should take care not to waste water. Okay? Rainwater harvesting. One way of increasing the availability of water is to collect rainwater and store it for later use. Collecting rainwater in this way is called rainwater harvesting. The basic idea behind rainwater harvesting is catch water where it falls. What happens to the rainwater that falls in places that are mostly covered with concrete roads and buildings? It flows into the drains, isn't it? From there, water goes to rivers or lakes, which could be far away. A lot of effort will then be required to get this water back into our homes as the water did not seep into the ground. Here, two techniques of rainwater harvesting are discussed. First, rooftop rainwater harvesting. In this system, the rainwater is collected from the rooftop to a storage tank through pipes. This water may contain soil from the roof and need filtering before it is used. Instead of collecting rainwater in the tank, the pipes can go directly into pit in the ground. This then seeps into the soil to recharge or refill the ground water. Second, another option is to allow water to go into the ground directly from the roadside drains that collect rainwater. Got it, children? Students, Some keywords are given below: clouds, hail, condensation, ocean, drought, rainwater harvesting, evaporation, snow, flood, water vapor, groundwater, and water cycle. Got it? So students, the things which we learned in this chapter, that are: water is essential for life. Water vapor gets added to air by evaporation and transpiration. The water vapor in the air condenses to form tiny droplets of water which appear as clouds. Many tiny water droplets come together and fall down as rain, snow, and or hail. Rain, hail, and snow replenishes water in rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, and soil. The circulation of water between ocean and land is known as the water cycle. Excessive rains may cause floods, while lack of it for long periods may cause droughts. The amount of usable water on earth is limited, so it needs to be used carefully. Okay. So here with this we completed our chapter 14. Thank you very much. Take care.